Hello everyone, Ace here, and today I'd like to talk about an article I found from The Guardian called How Video Games Are Fueling the Rise of the Far Right. Now, while it is perfectly true that we have seen other news media sites publishing articles claiming that video games can cause violence, this actually takes it a step further by claiming that video games cause violence because they make people right-wing. Now, I'm not going to read the whole article to you verbatim because I want this video to be as short as possible. I will, however, be providing both a link to the original article as well as an archived version of it for those who do not wish to reward The Guardian for this sheer case of stupidity. For this video, I will be looking at some of the juicier bits of the article, and there's some utter gold to be found here, I assure you. Now, I'm sure some of you are probably wondering, what evidence does The Guardian have that video games make people right-wing? Well, one of the first examples that this particular article from The Guardian tries to show is how they think that Gamergate was somehow a right-wing movement, despite the fact that there is actually a fair bit of evidence quite contrary to that claim. Of course, this isn't the first time that a major mainstream news media outlet has completely managed to misrepresent what Gamergate was actually about. However, this article from The Guardian takes it a step further by claiming that right-wing ideas are inherently predominant in video game design and overrepresented. And in addition to that, this article claims that with video games being an interactive art form, that they actually have an advantage in pushing people to any particular political agenda that the game pushes. This leads me to the paragraph in question, which ultimately made me decide to make this video. So let's dive into it, shall we? First, right-wing ideologies have been overrepresented and dominant throughout the history of video games. Although affected by context, video games have long focused on the expulsion of aliens, in quotations, Space Invaders to XCOM, fear of impure infection, Half-Life to The Last of Us, border control, Missile Commander to Plants vs. Zombies, territory acquisition, Command & Conquer to Splatoon, empire building, Civilization to Tropico, princess recovery, Mario to Zelda, and restoration of natural harmony, Sonic to Farmville. Of course, this paragraph is amazingly ridiculous for several reasons. For a start, some of the games, such as Space Invaders, came out as far back as the 1970s. To suggest that they are having an impact now on US politics is utterly ridiculous. Of course, not only that, but some of the ideas that this article suggests are strictly right-wing talking points are utterly ridiculous. How on earth is border control a strictly right-wing talking point? Did the writer of this article simply assume that there are no leftists in the world that do not believe in border control in any capacity whatsoever? This is of course completely ridiculous, and yet, because of the way this article is written, that does appear to be what the journalist is suggesting. Another ridiculous example that the article provided, of course, was princess recovery. How is princess recovery a right-wing talking point? How is it a talking point for any part of the political spectrum at this present time? Are there people at The Guardian that generally believe that there are members of the alt-right marching through the streets with tiki torches yelling, "We will save the princess"? And lastly, how is being eco-friendly and being an environmentalist a right-wing talking point? This makes no sense whatsoever, and yet this is something that this article claims. Of course, this paragraph in general shows what this article truly is. It's a hit piece made against video games and gamers alike. Before I go, some of you may be wondering why I decided to actually do this video. And the reason is because there hasn't been a whole lot of attention on this article, at least not from YouTube specifically. And yet, this is the kind of article that I would argue needs to have the spotlight shed on it some more. At the very least, it will be a great example of how utterly dishonest mainstream media can actually be, and this can reduce their influence overall. This would also hopefully in turn reduce the amount of hit pieces that they produce. Of course, if you disagree with this, feel free to explain why in the comments below. However, until then, I hope to see you guys again soon. Take care. Ace out.